All right, take two. Okay, so I kind of, I wanted to do a video about LSD, psychedelic drugs, and so the first video am I going? Yeah. Um, First video kind of got off the rails, but I talked about the first time I took LSD in 1981 was it's in my novel Junkyard, and there's a poem in my book, The Analog Body, goes what's it called? 1981. Yeah, Ghostly Spirits, 1981. It's a very short poem. Both of those are kind of describe it, so I don't need to go into it. And I sort of remember. Okay, so in 81, 82. So the first one was kind of a long trip, 20 hours. It wasn't. I took like two hits. It was very strong. So, but it was kind of enjoyable. It was like a kind of a new dimension. So I remember meeting up with my friend Jim Lane, and so we Pierre Al. Somehow we got together with Pierre Al. I don't know what happened, what order, but I know we ended up buying some stuff from him, and we took some stuff. And I don't. The only time I remember Jim Lane, I think we were sitting in his he had a Volkswagen van, and I was listening to a Rolling Stones song, and the drums seemed out of time with. I was just focusing on the drums, and it just started slowing down. And I go, oh, yeah, freaking out. I better go home. So I came home and kind of probably listened to some music. But um, and then another time, me and Mike Pendleton went to Godzilla's, a punk club in North Hollywood and Sunland. And I don't know who we saw, but we knew that there was some chick that was selling stuff there. So we bought some, took it, and then we. I had my white Volkswagen back then. No, when not the yellow Volkswagen. That's my first car. And when we tried to drive back, and it just seemed, and when you're driving on acid is never a good idea. So we're driving. They're doing night construct. One of those kind of things where they have a bunch of lights up and they're doing construction, fixing the whatever it was. It was the 101 or the 5 or the 110. I don't know what freeway I took back, but they were doing construction, and it just you looked at it and it just looked like a Mars landing or something. It's like what the. So me and Mike Thompson. It was probably like a 45-minute drive back, but we made it, but it just seemed like it took 10 hours, because and somehow I made it, and then so there was definitely that time. There was a Pierre Al kind of Jim Lane time, and then there was the Mike Pendleton time. So this is all in the beginning of '82, where I probably it was basically just during '82. I was 17, 18, and maybe a little bit later, but and then in the summer, let's see, I'm trying to think. Okay, so I had some. I remember taking a half a hit, and I went to school, and that was I don't know what I was trying to do there, but that was oh yeah. So I did that probably. There was this girl I used to sit right behind, and she had this sweater on. It was kind of weird. I was just kind of staring at that for an hour, but that was an experiment. But and then so if you see pictures, I wish I could pop up a picture. But if you see pictures of at the beginning of '82, I had short hair, and then at the end of when I graduated, I had black hair, or it was permed. It was I looked like Paul. I just kind of let my girl because kind of I was kind of I'm meeting Drew Bernstein in San Francisco during the China White thing. I just kind of started growing my hair. At that time, I was just taking acid and listening to different music, and started listening to some Paisley Underground and some trippy music. And I remember some of the music I listened to was The Cure, Echoes of Buddy Man, Wire, Public Image Limited, and that was really tripping out in '82. And then, so I remember in the summer. Okay, so the summer I have a picture. I remember the summer, like real. It was a really hot day, and I'm tripping my brains out again. I don't know. This might have been another Pierre Alec connection, but and then I remember I was kind of hanging out at home, and me and my mom. I was like, my parents were around, so I was like pretending like, oh, I'm not on drugs. So for some reason, we had a mattress, and she wanted to bring it. There used to be like a donation box, so we we put the mattress on our heads and walked it down, and I was like tripping while I was doing it, so it was kind of funny. So I remember that. So that was probably the summer. So and then probably I was trying to. I remember playing music a lot. Tripping, like that's what I would like, just kind of get the flange out and do that. So, and then I kind of stopped for a while and started. Was going to college. For the first semester of college was kind of a disaster and stuff, and then I ended up getting a job, I think, and then I went back to school in '83 and stuff, and I think um, oh, oh yeah. Okay, so like right at the end of '82 and the New Year's Eve '83. So I'm hanging out with Mark Held, and he got some stuff from Santa Ana and stuff, and it was like, so I get two hits and stuff, and I was like, okay, I took one, I didn't feel anything, so I took a second one, and it comes on real strong, like 10 o'clock. It's just like, so I was hanging out with Mark Held, so and then that time I think it was that time. Okay, so like it was like a New Year's Day. I'm like, I'm for some reason I decided to drive my car, but I'm having a hard crash. Like sometimes when you take acid, when it's kind of like got some strychnine or something, you kind of you're crashing. You're kind of repeat. When you're trying to come off it, you're like you're kind of have these circular thoughts and stuff. And this is one of those times where I had like a hard crash. So so I mean, from the first time I took it to that last time, '83 was about a year or 13 months and stuff. So I just kind of consider it kind like, and when I would take that stuff, I couldn't read or concentrate for a couple days and stuff. So I didn't really like that. So because I was at that time I was like reading a lot of books, and so so I didn't take from '83 on for a long time. I didn't take anything, and then when I met Fred, we through Fred, we that's when we got started going to Grateful Dead, like maybe like the later '80s and early '90s and stuff. And I think a couple times we went to Grateful Dead, just the parking lot. I didn't go to the show. We just go to the parking lot and pick up some stuff. And I remember hanging out at Fred's house watching Doctor Strangelove on acid and stuff. And I would come back, and I think that same time after Doctor Strange, I came back and I went in my room. So that was, and I remember looking at a bunch of artwork. Like all the artwork was like moving around. So we're looking. I have this book of Francisco Clemente art, and just everything was moving on the page, and colors were zipping around, and then the Fred had a bunch of artwork that he did, and I was like moving around and go, wow, it's kind of like a cartoon, like almost. So I remember that. So I don't know how many times it was. So there was probably so in '82, I probably in that early time, I probably only took it maybe 6 or 7 times, and then with Fred, maybe 2 or 3 times, and then okay, so then but I would, you know, I mean, I would even then I was thinking like in those days I was thinking like only really the one time is important. The one good trip is good, and then it's pretty much the same. So these guys that take it like 50 or 100 or 500 times, I just don't see what the point is, because it's like you should probably try something else. And but I did, I think I tried it a couple more times. But I remember, yeah, one time with Brett, we I don't know. Oh, yeah, a couple of times in San Francisco. Once with Brett, and then these Australian girls. They wanted. We just bought some off the street, and that was kind of a mild. And and then another time, I don't know where we got that stuff. We might have went. We might have went to. That was maybe another time. I remember me and Fred went to like see Nick Cave, and we took some of that stuff. So that was probably '92. So I mean, I kind of so maybe I did take it like 12 or 15 times, and then the very last time I took it was yeah, it was Fred, me, and Mike Jant went to Mexico. Me and Fred might have went to like another Grateful Dead thing in Irvine and got some, and then I bought a couple, and then I gave one to this girl Heather. I remember that, and then I don't even think I took it. I gave one to Heather, and I went back to New York, and this is more like '96 or so, and then I remember just it was like '96 or early '97, and I just remember listening to a lot of techno music and sitting there in New York. So that was yeah. So that was probably it was somewhere between 12 and 15 times, and it was mostly '82, and then again in the early '90s, and then one last one in the '96 or '97. And there was I just remember it being a real cold day, and it was different from being in California and doing it because like you're near nature and it's usually warm. In New York, it's like 15 degrees and it's snowing and it's all gray and you're taking it and you're listening. It's kind of it's a way maybe like the walls are melting or something. It's a little bit different. But yeah, but again, I felt like that was kind of minor, and Ellis, that was LSD and mushrooms. Oh, probably only took it a couple times. Didn't really do much for me. It was kind of minor, but ecstasy I think was a lot better. Probably did that 10 or 15 times too. But and it kind of overlapped with as I kind of jumped out of the LSD. I kind of got into the ecstasy because that was like more what was going on in San Francisco because the rave scene kind of happened in the '90s and stuff. So yeah, we've been kind of going for a while. So that's about it. But yeah, I mean, so I mean, like that was 20, 30 years ago and stuff. I don't know, like who knows what is is LSD is like these days and stuff. They'd have to get like some specially made stuff or something. Okay, well that's it. Okay, so that's part two. The other one was not much, but yeah, maybe that's why I kind of like don't finish sentences sometimes. Okay, take care, everyone.